Hello, my name's Sonora Taylor, and I'll be reading a piece from my short story, The Clockmaker, which was originally published in Candicia Press's Women of Horror Volume Two, Graveyard Smash. The story was also first referenced in passing as a ghost story in my third novel, Seeing Things, and for Candicia Press's collection, I decided to expand it and tell the full tale. So the story is about a watchmaker named Nathaniel Wells, and one day he receives a very odd request from a very strange man. And so the piece I'll be reading is that encounter. On an especially rainy day, when the wind was as fierce as the cold and the windows were slopped with running streams that blurred the cemetery outside of them, a man entered Nathaniel's workshop. Water dripped from his gray coat onto the floor and pooled around his muddy shoes. He wore a tall hat with a wide brim, one that added to the rainwater soaking Nathaniel's floor. Nathaniel hardly noticed him. He was hard at work on the final touches of a pocket watch for the minister. He painted Roman numerals upon the face with a fine-tipped brush. He wouldn't look up for God himself. Once his brush struck 12, he breathed in satisfaction and set the watch down to dry. "Beg your pardon, Mr. Wells." Nathaniel jumped a little as he looked up at his guest. The man stood in a small puddle, but his clothes had stopped dripping. He nodded as he removed his hat. He had a kind face, but his eyes and grin both suggested the kindness would vanish if he were ever crossed. "I'm in need of a new pocket watch," he said. "I know you're the fellow to see." "My work is recommended, yes," Nathaniel replied. The man chuckled. "Don't be modest, son. Your work is all that's recommended around here." Nathaniel shrugged as the man walked to his table. His father had taught him to be modest, to let the work speak for itself. "I hear you make intricate designs, and with fine materials," the man continued. "I search for the finest, yes. I want the materials to match my work." The man let out a hearty laugh, one that trembled in rhythm with the quickening rain. "Not overly modest, I see. I like that." Nathaniel reddened. "So, this pocket watch you want." He lifted out a box with models. "Are you looking for a larger piece, or—" "I want nothing like you've got in there." The man took the box from Nathaniel's hands and dropped it on the table. "Be careful! Don't break them, or—" The man narrowed his eyes. "Or what?" Nathaniel swallowed, then gently placed the box at his feet. "Tell me what you'd like, then." The man regained his earlier warmth. Nathaniel still felt a chill in his bones. "I want a smooth cover of bone, with hands to match, pearl inlay for the numbers." Nathaniel began to write down the materials. "This will be an expensive piece," he said. "I've got the money to cover it, if you have the means to make it. I can order pearl, and bones. Bone-colored ivory, yes, not ivory, son. Bone." Nathaniel looked up. "Bone? You want a pocket watch made of bones?" "Yes, sturdy stuff it is." Nathaniel thought of the fractures and cracks he'd seen in the skulls in a traveling museum, but decided not to contradict the man. "And what better way to count the seconds of my mortality than with the stuff that makes me up, yeah?" Mad. The man was mad. Nathaniel set down his pen. "I don't work with bone, I'm afraid. First time for everything, yes? It'll be hard to order—" "Surely you'll find a way. A man with talents like yours, why, this could be your magnum opus, and I can cover it, like I said." The man reached into his coat and pulled out a stack of bills. Nathaniel's eyes widened before he could stop himself. The man chuckled as he thumbed through the banknotes. "Bet you could use this," he said. "Praise alone doesn't put food on the table, or help you or your widowed mother." "How do you—" Nathaniel closed his mouth to hide his shock, futile as it was. The man grinned, without a trace of the kindness he'd had when he entered the shop. "I know you need this," he said as he placed a small stack of money on the table. "Just like you need the citizens of Sangway Bluff to always see you as the man that can make any watch that anyone desires." He wouldn't spread rumors about Nathaniel across town. How could he? He was a stranger, and everyone knew Nathaniel. Or at least they knew Nathaniel's work. And yet, the man knew so much about Nathaniel already, and knew enough about the town to know they bought their watches from the Wells family. Was his influence as strong as his ears? "I need a watch made of bone. Will you make it for me?" Nathaniel looked at the money and then at the man. He then looked at the pocket watch he was making for the minister. It gleamed at him. It was a fine piece of work, one of his best. Nathaniel could do better. He took the money. So thank you very much for listening. Again, that was The Clockmaker, which appears in Candicia Press's Women of Horror Volume 2, Graveyard Smash. Thank you, and I hope you'll pick up a copy. Bye.